the Gold Coast Suns. I'm fascinated by the Gold Coast Suns because September is no longer a pipe dream for this mob.
What I like about them is the gap between their best and worst is now narrowed, and that's what used to be the issue for them, wasn't it, Damo? And now they're inside 50s. They smashed the Hawks, who off a good win against Brisbane, they have just dismantled them. You know, plus 20 inside 50s, smashed them in clearance, smashed them in tackles. When they get in this mood, they're hard to stop. They just haven't been able to sustain it, but they're doing that now.
They are, and their numbers, Lordo, that they want to be judged by were still quite impressive, even when the losses were coming earlier in the year. And they've now nearly got the ledger squared after 11 games. And you're right. I mean, the narrowing of the best and the worst is what's key now.
The word coming out of the Bulldogs last week, even though they won the game at Mars Stadium, was how brutal it was and how good they were defensively. And every time they had the footy, they had to do something with it because Gold Coast defensive was so good. And we saw that again last night.
Kane showed us Justin Longmuir from a week ago talking about the Dockers possibly getting ahead of themselves. Did Hawthorn get ahead of themselves?
I don't know if they got ahead of themselves. I think it's more just the inconsistencies that you get with a team that just isn't as stacked with as much talent as some of the other teams. Like if you lined up the first round draft picks at Gold Coast with Hawthorn and both teams at a similar spot, you're going to get some fluctuations. But I've got to say, I didn't like this from Chad Wingard. So he's involved in a contest here in the forward 50. That's just a blatant play for a free kick. So if Michael Christian doesn't find him, and then the ball comes straight back in, he miraculously bounces to his feet and kicks a great goal, which Chad can do. And then this after, like you're 40 points down, you're not Luke Parker. We saw that with Dylan Shield. I just think you need to pull your head in and understand where you are as a club and where you are as a player. Yes, highly talented. You could never question his competitiveness, but it was an ordinary effort, and I think that's embarrassing, and Sam Mitchell should probably have a word to him.
Righto then. Hey, I want to ask you about Stewie Dew because going into the season, it was almost a fait accompli. Oh, this is going to be the last one for Stewie. May not even see out the year. Alistair Clarkson's waiting in the wings. It was actually insulting to a bloke who's proved everyone wrong.
Oh, it's fantastic for him. I had my doubts a month ago, TJ, whether, let's see what they do. Let's see if they can sustain it. But now you have a trust in the Gold Coast Suns, and he's the man you have to go to and say he's built this.
And to be able to do what they've done, it is still relative because they've still got to do something they've never done before, and that is win enough games to make the 8. But to do it without King up forward, I think
there's 45 goals.
Yeah, and given the trajectory of him, Lordo, and to have a makeshift forward line of Casbolt and Chol, this is where they sit historically. Prior to that 2015 year was the one that they were tracking well before Ablett broke down in 2014. But it's been a mess since then, beyond this particular part of the season. They're, as you can see there, comparatively and historically, they're going really nicely now. But we've seen this before with the Suns. We need to see it again. We need to see something they haven't done.
What do you do, TJ? Do you sign him up?
Well,
Stewie Dew? How would you be? You're running Gold Coast right now. Clarkson's there. They're playing phenomenal football. They've had some big wins. Do you sign him?
Absolutely, based on what we've seen so far. And you mentioned before Ben King. I mean, imagine what they could achieve if Ben King was there. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go around, would you?
Well, you've got to weigh up what it does for the players and do they need to, because nobody's coming knocking on the door for Stuart Dew at the moment. So they're not in a hurry. But on the other hand, what does it do for the players if they do sign him? Does that give them some confidence?
Well, yes or no? Would you sign him?
Not at the moment, no.
Yes, I would. I would now.
Yeah, I'm with you, TJ. I think I would. I think he's got a great relationship with his players and it would give them a big boost.
I reckon they're going well without that boost required, and I'd hold off just to make sure that they did make. I think they need to make finals.
So if they reappoint Stewie Dew, as they should, and Mark Evans would be thinking about that even as we speak here this morning, where does that potentially leave Alistair Clarkson?
I don't think he'll be short of options.
Yeah, look.
Well, he's not going to go to North Melbourne, is he? If that becomes available.
You'd think it unlikely. I see him wanting to go to a club where he can make an immediate impact, first year potential premiership, but that's not going to happen at North Melbourne.
Giants.
The Giants are still the obvious one, I feel. But again, there's a bit to play out.